Hello and welcome to my Zenless Zone Zero Shiyu 7 cycle for February 14th. I'll be looking at the cycle's buffs, leaving my impressions and showing you how I did it with 3 different teams. I don't have Evelyn yet, so this is better for people who are in the same spot as me or want to skip her. We start by looking at the cycle's buffs, and unsurprisingly, you are incentivized to work around chain attacks this time. The buffs are pretty straightforward. You have an increase of fire and ice damage, because you gotta keep that Miyabi relevant, and chain attacks gain a significant increase of 40% while also giving energy to agents that perform them. Of course, the big star of this cycle is going to be Evelyn, as she is an attack agent focused on performing chain attacks, as she has the ability to do them outside of an enemy's stun. I'm glad to say that Koleda got a great glow up in this cycle as the prime choice for a stun unit, as her additional ability when paired with another construction worker or fire agent lets you get up to extra 70% damage increase on chain attacks, which combined with her fast stun makes it so that you'll be taking full advantage of the strategy they're pushing forward. Of course, Lighter is a great choice not only due to being a stunner, which allows for chain attacks, but also due to the fire and ice resistant shred on his kit, which plays well with the damage increase of the cycle buffs. As for supports, AstraYao continues to be a great choice, but this time for a different reason. While the previous Shiyu was centered around quick assists, this one is centered around chain attacks, which AstraYao can enable extra uses of due to her ultimate. And finally, I'd like to recommend Caesar and Piper to be used as support options. Aside from providing buffs through Caesar's shield attack buff and Piper's additional ability damage buff, both can indirectly help the chain attack condition through Caesar's impact scaling and Piper easily triggering assault, which comes with the added benefit of increasing days build-up for 10 seconds. And here's the first clear I'll be showcasing. As someone who does not have Evelyn, my only option for a fire DPS would have to be Soldier, and so I use her in a team with Koleda and AstraYao and try to trigger as many Soldier chain attacks as possible. While Resonabu's extra ability does not activate in this team, it will still group enemies to the same spot, which is invaluable for a fast clear, compensating for Soldier's weak point, which is unreliable AoE. For the second half, as a failsafe in case I take too long, I'll be bringing Miyabi, with Nicole to group enemies and Shark Boo to help me freeze a bit faster. All things considered, my Soldier and AstraYao are at a point where I am content, while my Koleda still needs quite a bit of work, as I only started building her 2 or 3 days ago for a hypothetical Evelyn team. Resonabu is very important at the start of this fight. I use AstraYao's third basic attack on the group of enemies to keep them close together until Resonabu groups them. I deploy her stinging stance before switching to Koleda to stun for the big payoff. The fight with the Hati is straightforward in the sense that you want to stun and then DPS, but make use of chain attacks as much as possible. I make sure to do 2x skills with Koleda to stack her damage increase buff, which you can see here. Using AstraYao's ultimate makes it so that the 2 next quick assists turn into chain attacks, which I trigger with Soldier for an extra chain attack. However, notice how I don't trigger the other extra chain attack with Koleda. Once the stun is over, I wait until the Hati attacks to parry with Koleda. This makes me switch into her without spending this extra chain attack. I apply 2 Koleda debuff stacks again and trigger days. This time, I start the chain attack sequence with Soldier to make sure that she is not the one on field by the end of the attacks. This way, I can trigger the extra Soldier chain attack that I had been saving from Astra's ult. From then on, it's just a matter of repeating this until the Hati is defeated.
try harder! Down! Come on, try harder! Hey! Lose yourself in the music! No escape! These flames never die! Flames? Obey me! This is our chance! Let our souls resonate! Target acquired! Don't blink! You'll make me dash you into the ground! Fire's ready! Have a taste! These flames never die!
This fight was very technical as I had never played Koleda before, but it felt very fun to pull it off. With Evelyn instead of Soldier, the way to pilot the comp is the same, except with the added complexity of Evelyn's stacks. For the second half, we have the Miyabi with Stun and Nicole team. My Miyabi is well invested as she has her signature weapon, but I find that the free-to-play 4-star options will perform just as well. Both Lycaon and Nicole could be better built, but they don't require as much to perform to a high standard. I start the fight by grouping enemies with Nicole and quickly dispatching them with Miyabi.
Understood. It's over. Watch out.
The fight against the Thracian is straightforward. Stun and shred its ice resistance with Lycaon, shred its defense further with Nicole's black hole, and then beat him up with Miyabi.
Press forward.
For you, I'll eliminate any obstacles.
The pleasure's all yours. Restore order. Catch you in the next life. I swear on my blade. Weakling. Behave yourself.
I'll fight your throat out.
You asked for it. Cut through care.
For my second clear showcase, I will start off by showing that Anomaly isn't dead by using a Yanagi Burnice Disorder team. For the second half, I will use an Ellen team with Lycaon and Caesar to group enemies. However, I'm sure that it's possible to pull it off with Sokaku if you don't have her. Both Rocket Boo and Shark Boo are used to trigger burn and freeze faster, respectively. Even though the first half is resistant to lightning, I am not too worried as my Yanagi was built with Pen as a second priority after Anomaly proficiency. Burnice could use some work, but for me, she has the minimum requirements to perform. My Lucy is very well built as she is able to grant the maximum attack buff while also dealing significant damage on her own. I start the fight by applying Lucy's buff and then trying to spread as much burn as possible. Then I just use Yanagi's X skill to trigger Disorder and deal with the small enemies fast. The The fight with the Hati is just about managing Burnice's fuel, Lucy's buff, and using Yanagi on field, triggering the Zordor whenever possible.
Resistance to futile enemies of section 6 shall pay.
If you stun, make sure to trigger as many disorders as possible in the day's time frame, even if it means holding out on ultimate usage a little bit. Lucy's ultimate in particular can be used as an energy battery for Yanagi for an extra X skill.
Such provocations don't go unanswered. Resistance to futile. Evasive action. Press the attack. Waste of time.
In this team, my Ellen is well invested as she has her signature weapon, meaning that she has 100% crit rate in combat. Like before, Lycaon and Caesar aren't fully built yet, but they don't need much to do what they were meant to do. The fight is started by using Caesar to group enemies and apply her shield. I don't use Lycaon right away because while the enemies are in their animation of getting the parasites, they seem to be immune to stun buildup. After a combo, I switch to Lycaon, and that's when I use Ellen to chain attack for AoE.
Take this.
Like in the first showcase of the video, the Thracian is dealt in a straightforward way. Stun and shred with Lycaon, then beat him up with Ellen, applying Caesar's shield as needed. Parrying the Thracian's attacks here is advised because of Caesar's drive disc set granting a damage buff after the parry.
Thanks for your business. How annoying. Get flushed! Get back!
I'll fight your throat out.
There's more to battle! The glory! Victory's mine! The perfect fight!
With this power... Up! Yes, Master.
Thanks for your business. Thank you for your patronage.
Finally, for the third showcase, I'll once again use Miyabi, but this time in a more traditional Disorder team with Piper and Lucy instead of with a stunner. Red Mochas is my choice for a Bangbu to help with grouping, even though we don't really need it. For the second team, I will be bringing a mono either team with ZhuYuan, Nicole, and AstraYao, and won't be relying on any stun. I did bring Rasonabu out of habit, but it would probably be better to bring something like Night Boo, as grouping here is not a weakness that needs to be covered. Like stated before, Miyabi is well invested with her signature weapon. Piper herself needs work, but for her purpose in this team, which is just to apply assault, she's good enough as is. And Lucy is built to the point where I would not touch her anymore. Like usual, the fight is started by applying Lucy's buffs. I don't worry about grouping when using this team, as Miyabi has enough damage and AoE to deal with everything in her way. In the Hati fight, I started by using Piper to apply Assault for increased stage and also to give my team a damage increase before on-fielding with Miyabi. After this, the fight is all about managing Miyabi's stacks, Lucy's buff, and Hati's anomaly effect. The goal here is to frostbite the enemy with Miyabi, clear its frostbite cooldown with a single assault from Piper, and then applying Miyabi's frostbite again, all while keeping Lucy's buff up.
There's no time to lose. Purging slash. And the winner is me. My blade is already. Right down. You asked for it. No forgiveness. Little old me knows when to get. Buckle up. Rocky, what do you need? It's over. I see it. My blade is already. That's it! Out of my way! I swear on my blade. Weakling.
In the mono ether team, I'm satisfied with my ZhuYuan, considering that she has 84% crit rate after buffs. Nicole here has an Anomaly Mastery Disc 6 instead of Energy Recharge to quickly proc Corruption effect and thus ZhuYuan's 4-piece set effect. AstraYao is built to reach her maximum attack buff cap. I start by deploying Astra's Singing Stance and grouping enemies, making sure that they have suffered corruption before ZhuYuan enters the field. After this, the fight is all about managing ZhuYuan's bullets. ZhuYuan gets her bullets from using her X skill, Chain Attack and Ultimate, but also through quick assists, which between AstraYao and Nicole are plentiful. The fight is nothing more than performing quick assists as often as possible, using ultimates in the best moment.
Don't even try it. You're surrounded. This song is dedicated to the world. Gold up. You asked for it. Let me give you a little treat. Like this.
Do it.
Witness the magic of music. This won't hurt much.
Stand down. Surrender.
My song is with you.
Stand down. Surrender.
Well, the pleasure's all yours.
And with this, I hope I was able to have the point come across that you don't need Evelyn to clear this Shiyu, even though she looks like a very fun and strong agent to have in your roster. Before ending the video, I also showed the time it took for each of my teams to clear their respective halves. In post-production, I noticed that my Lycaon on the Miyabi team on second half had no W engine equipped, so the clear time was higher than expected. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts, strategies, and approaches on this Shiyu cycle and would like to know if this showcase was helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time.